This video contains content that may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Sheriffs and media misidentify innocent Compton black man as cop shooter. You knew that this was going to happen. And I can see why the people in Compton want this sheriff to just step down after he made an idiot out of himself by trying to call out LeBron James. This man is just doing a piss poor job. And I feel sorry for a lot of black people up in Compton because you just know a lot of innocent black men are going to be rushed in because of misidentification. The article reads, 33-year-old Compton native Darnell Hicks had no idea why his phone was blowing up Sunday night. Like every Sunday, he was working the swing shift as a client aide at a South Central Los Angeles transitional housing program, when all of a sudden he started receiving back-to-back text messages and social media notifications. Darnell could hardly believe what he was reading, that he was wanted in the shooting of two Los Angeles sheriff's deputies as they sat in a patrol SUV at Compton's Willowbrook rail station. I mean, hey, if that won't grow you some gray hairs, I don't know what will. As a black person, you are being misidentified as a person that shot two cops. Man, I could just imagine the fear that this young man was in. I was shocked and worried, says Hicks. So I hurried up and Googled the number to the Compton Sheriff's Station and called in. I told them that there are social media posts saying that I was wanted for shooting the two sheriff's deputies. I wanted to know if it was true. He said the watch commander told him he'd call him back. 2 hours later, Hicks received a call back asking if the watch commander could come to his job. Now, what black man wants the law to come visit them at the job? They said they wouldn't come with a lot of sheriffs, that it would just be two people, explained Hicks. By the time they came to his job, Darnell was receiving death threats on social media, and his home address had been published online by a right-wing extremist Twitter influencer named Ian Miles Cheong. Hey, we need to remember that name, and we need to get this guy shut down because we don't need people out here spreading misinformation trying to get black people killed because they're mad behind two cops getting shot. And how did this guy, Ian Miles Cheong, get this misinformation? How did he get this guy's phone number, his address, and all this type of stuff? That guy, like I say, stuff like this doesn't have any business happening. And hey, man, I'm quite sure this man's life right now is turned upside down behind some damn misinformation. The article goes on and says that he called and asked me if I had looked on Facebook, and I said no, explained Pamela Clayton Hicks, Darnell's mother. They had his face all on their social media, talking about he was the one that shot the two cops. And I just got my husband and told him, come on, let's go down to the sheriff's station and see what's going on before anything get out of control. We all live at the same house together with my 93-year-old mother, and I take care of my mentally ill brother. And the sheriffs could have come in there and shot everybody in my mother's house, not knowing. And you know damn well they were doing. Look at Breonna Taylor, look at Archana Jefferson, and so many other black people that don't get the media play. There's a lot of people that were killed unjustly by some bumbling cops going into the wrong house based on misinformation. It goes on and says that Darnell said he hadn't been anywhere near the Compton Blue Line station on Saturday. Like most Saturday nights, he was out dirt biking with his friend through Compton and Watts. When the sheriff finally arrived at his job, Darnell said they apologized for the situation. Like, what good is that going to do? The first thing the sheriff's deputy said to me when he got out of his car was, "You're a lot taller than our suspect. No shit, Sherlock." Standing at 6 feet tall, Darnell's dark skin was the only other characteristic that matched the suspect wanted initially. The sheriff's department said they were looking for a dark-skinned male. Why do they always do that? When they do that, the cops gonna go out and jack up everybody black because they can't distinguish between a light-skinned black male and a dark-skinned, just any black male. It says they later clarified their description by saying black male. Oh, so a dark-skinned black male. Man, these people just, and these are people that people vote for as sheriffs and people being in charge of communities. This got to change. It says, after getting home from work, Darnell said he was too worried to sleep, quite obviously. The social media chatter hadn't died down, and he was still receiving death threats and calls from friends. He says he probably didn't fall asleep until 7:30 in the morning on Monday. Hey man, I can feel you, player. You know what's so sad is that all these people give us a weak ass apology. You know how they set up these people's house? I mean, you have a 93-year-old mother there. The news of that, I know, it stressed that old lady out, as well as his mother. And everyone in the household not knowing when the cops gonna come kick in the door because of misinformation. I mean, that guy, Ian Cheon, whatever his name is, I would sue him. I would sue that guy because, first of all, where did he get the information? And where did he get my information? How did he mix me up, 6 foot tall guy with somebody around 4 foot, less than 5 foot? And those excuses that white people make, hey man, as a black person, I went through that myself. Being misidentified, putting some damn police car, and I'm saying to myself, man, just suppose this person would have lied and said, yeah, that's him. You know, and then how they do black people when we get to jail, no representation, kangaroo court. Next thing you know, man, you done caught the chain. It goes on and says that after speaking with his former basketball coach from Double Rock Baptist Church, whom he still kept in touch with, Darnell reached out to the Cochran Law Firm for legal advice and direction on how to clear his name and hopefully save his reputation. Renard Smith, a Compton resident and Darnell's former coach, said, I was shocked because out of all the youth basketball players I've coached in Compton, Darnell was not a kid involved with drugs or gangs. When I initially spoke to him about this after seeing it on social media, his response was very casual. I knew then he didn't fully understand the seriousness of this issue. As a black man, I also realized that this could be something reoccurring since the sheriff has been known to show signs of aggression and retaliation toward residents. The father of two daughters, Darnell added, I have a lot I'm working on. I coach football, I'm a rapper, and I have my own clothing line, Uno Mars. And I'm also a photographer. I sell hair and I do taco catering. I do it all. I try to stay busy. It goes on and says that he has no connection whatsoever, said Brian Dunn, managing partner of the Cochran firm. Any person will suffer greatly when falsely accused of a crime, and especially a crime as heinous as this. He simply has been thrown into this, but for nothing other than the color of his skin. There has been a complete blackout in terms of the information coming out. No one has taken responsibility for it. It appears that the social media posts identifying Darnell Hicks as the shooter came from someone named Floyd Bradford and the Lakewood, California Regional Crimes Awareness, Prevention and Safety Group, which boasts over 18,000 members on Facebook. That's these white supremacist groups, and hey man, they don't care whether or not if the information is real or not. And we on the streets, we keep saying, if they don't find the suspects, they're going to find a suspect. They're going to create a suspect. Some innocent black person, if they don't find his suspect, is going to be the fall guy. And because the person probably will be poor and cannot afford representation, he's going to get railroaded. Compton Mayor Asia Brown said, unfortunately, the available description offered of this suspect is limited, and many people fit this profile. I strongly urge dark-skinned black male residents of Compton to be cautious during this time. Miss Clayton Hicks continued, I have 3 sons, and my sons were never out there doing things like that. They always did something positive, and I love all 6 of mine, and I don't want no harm to come to mine. She said since her son's story is coming out in the news, she is more at ease. I watch everything moving, she said. Anything moving. I am always watching. Attorney Brian Dunn plans to request that the Sheriff's Department Civilian Oversight Commission open an investigation to see if the misidentification of Darnell Hunt originated with the sheriffs. It wouldn't surprise me if he did. I mean, the way he conducted himself, trying to call out, I mean, like that's something hip to do, to call out LeBron James, talking about adding some money to some reward. There's no telling what this guy's up to, and those gangs that they have on the police force. You know, it's just sad that we have to go to these people to investigate themselves, which why nothing never ever happens. Because how can the police department investigate the police department or the justice system, which protects police department? So we're going to expect them to do something about this? We got to come up with a much better plan. She says that I want to, there they go. She wants to send her prayers out to the deputies. And I just hate that black people always feel as if we got to go there in order to show people that we all right. It's not your fault about what happened. You should not have to suck up to these people saying that you feel bad about the officers. I mean, hey, I would not, before you lie, just don't say nothing. That's my whole thing. Before I will lie, I'm just not going to answer that question. I'm not going to address it. But she says that for every other black man out there, be aware because the description was a black male. That could be anybody. It says, as of Centennial Press time, no suspect has been identified. The Sheriff's Department issued a statement early Monday, saying that the information circulating online about Darnell Hicks is erroneous information, and there are no named or wanted suspects at this time. I mean, there are black people out there. You haven't changed the description, so there's some suspects out there, and some innocent suspects. In spite of them coming out with this information about Darnell not committing this crime, he's still getting death threats. That's just how white people roll, because you have these Caucasian agitators who really want this race war, and they're going to put all the stops in their power to get it going on. But they don't want this, and this goes out to the police department. You need to start singling out and pointing out and do what you can to get these racist cops off the force, because it's not going to end well for you. Just like innocent black people get killed, innocent cops are going to get killed because of the action of the criminal cops. So all the so-called good cops out there need to do what they can to separate themselves from the bad cops, and do what you must to get these bad cops off the force. Stop being scary. I mean, you think people on the streets are scared because we're not coming forward with information about certain crimes, and like up there in Compton, you want people to come up with the information about who shot these two cops? Well, the good cops need to come up with the information about the bad cops on the force who is creating this criminal element. And it's not going to end well for everyone. Not only cops, but civilians too. Because we live in this world. And cops patrol our neighborhood. So, hey, it's going to be this is going to be a rough 2 years dealing with this coronavirus and hatred. The way I see it, stop hiring these immigrant Hispanic cops. It seems like every department that these Hispanic cops work at, there's always a problem with police abuse. And we got enough of that dealing with the white cops. And we don't need that from the Hispanics. All of the stress and trauma that black people have to go through every day of our life in America, some people think it's okay. But I'm wondering how you are going to feel script is flipped.